Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio.
Elizabeth Dutton.
Zaron Burnett.
Nice to see you, my friend.
It's
How you
good to
been?
see you.
Good?
Fair to Midland. How are you?
I'm enjoying February.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, it's the shortest month. So I'm like, we're going to get through this.
Power through.
Yeah, you know how I
exactly.
be.
Hammer down.
So I got a question for you.
Yes.
Do you know what's ridiculous?
Yes, I do.
Your face seems to say yes.
First, I need to acknowledge that it was Esther on Instagram who sent us a thing about monkeys putting grass up their butts as like a fashion statement.
Yes. You're back with more animal
she
butts.
She did it. And she did it. I finally found it. And,
the winter of dark animal butts with Elizabeth.
It's so heinous. Anyway, it's so anus. No, but you know what is ridiculous?
No, I do not.
I have a question that's ridiculous.
Oh, no.
What's your favorite condiment?
My favorite condiment?
Yeah.
I don't even think like that.
You have to. My refrigerator is like all condiments.
I know. So neither one of us can answer this question, apparently. My favorite condiment, for lack of I'm just going to go for the first one I can think of, Russian hot mustard.
Okay, I'd say mustard in general would be if you were to ask me.
I put it on more things. What's yours, Elizabeth?
Mustard. Mustard. I like Mendocino mustard.
Okay, so I'm a sweet hot mustard.
Yeah. What's your third favorite?
Horseradish.
Horseradish.
Just horseradish.
And like you don't like mayo.
No. I mean, I used to eat Miracle Whip like sometimes if I made leftover Thanksgiving turkey sandwiches.
Okay.
Because my mother would have it around. But
Miracle Whip. That's not like real mayonnaise.
No, it's fake. It's like the margarine to butter.
Okay.
For mayonnaise as butter.
Sure.
And then, people like you who've made food for me with mayo have taught me that I don't absolutely hate mayo.
Yeah.
I still just don't reach for it.
Right. I got you.
What about you? What's your third favorite, Elizabeth?
I don't know. Maybe chili crisp. Here's my question. What are your feelings on ketchup?
I consider ketchup an underrated spice.
Oh.
I'm kidding. I'm not a 7-year-old boy. But I do like it. I like all red sauce. If it's a red sauce, I probably like it.
Well, then have I got something for you. And I got to tell you, this isn't a mashup.
It's not?
No.
Your face says it is.
I just have a devilish look on my face all the time. It's not a mashup. I have to tell you that I signed you up for an alert on this, that when it drops, you can get it. It's Heinz Keg-Chup. Many rude dudes have told us about this. It's a keg of ketchup from Heinz.
When would you ever need? Are you going to like a Buffalo Bills game and you're going to pregame and you want to
114 ounces of rich, thick Heinz ketchup. 114 ounces.
Damn.
In a sleek aluminum keg design, complete with precision pouring tap.
Okay.
So it's just basically, it's got like the little pump top, like if you go to some like burger joints, they have where you fill the little paper cups, and they have someone here slathering it on chicken strips.
Okay.
Which I don't know. Are you supposed to? I don't think that's how it works. They have this like sexy video.
Sexy.
Where it's all sweaty.
Really bending that one to
it's
fit.
It's the sweaty keg. And like you see the drips, and then you see like the pulsating ketchup coming out of the squirty
Lord, give me patience.
Anyway, like I said, it's so they're introducing it. You have to sign up. Pours slow, will go fast. Sign up to get notified when you get your own Heinz Keg-Chup. This is at the Heinz website.
You signed me up for this.
Of course I did. Look, first name, last name, email.
Thank you.
I filled that out for you.
Thank you.
But I also opted out of the marketing emails for you.
I'm going to have to get a whole new email just so I have a usable inbox.
So, but you could get like a big old thing of ketchup. It says for when one bottle's just not enough.
I think I'm going to get you a singing telegram just because that's more my speed. Have that sent to your house.
Yeah, all right. I don't have to open my door.
That's true.
You know?
I'll tell them that, though. Sing through the door.
Go to the side window.
If they don't answer, sing through the door.
So a keg full of ketchup. You know what that is? Ridiculous.
100%.
Yeah. All right, you can go now.
Okay.
Your turn.
At least it wasn't a mashup.
Tell me what's ridiculous. No, it
Elizabeth,
wasn't a mashup.
I got something ridiculous for you.
Yeah.
Imagine conning Jack Nicholson.
I think I could imagine that.
You could?
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to imagine it because I'm going to tell you the story of someone who decided that's a good idea.
All right.
Yeah. This is Ridiculous Crime, a podcast about absurd and outrageous capers, heists, and cons. It's always 99% murder-free and 100% ridiculous.
Yes.
Elizabeth.
Zaron.
You know, we cover a lot of art crimes on here.
Mm-hmm.
For one, they're typically nonviolent, which I know you like.
Love that.
They're often ambitious and unhinged, which I like.
And I love that too.
That is true. Also, they typically have the wildest tangents and side quests.
Yeah.
Sometimes which include celebrities, which we both like.
Well, and they don't go after the working class.
Or just any innocent person pretty much at all.
No.
For the most part.
For the most part.
Now, this one has all of that and then some.
Mm-hmm.
So meet Todd Michael Volpe.
Hi, Todd.
Now, when he was born, he was originally named Todd Mitchell Volpe, but later he renamed himself. He dropped one D from Todd to his
so
T-O-D,
what are you saying, Todd?
which he claims was his mother's original intent. He also changed his middle name
Wait.
from, yes?
His mom was originally like 1D.
Yeah.
Who overrode her? The dad?
I think maybe the nurse at the hospital. She's like, I'm none of that nonsense. I don't know. Maybe. But I do know he also changed his middle name from Mitchell to Michael.
Okay.
Now, that was not his mother's intent. He did that for his own very specific reason. He was inspired, Elizabeth, by the archangel Michael, who slayed the dragon as Saint Michael.
Oh.
You know that story, Saint Michael
Yeah,
and the dragon?
familiar.
So, yeah. As he told the New York Times, quote, "That's what I thought I was doing in the art world." Slaying the dragon.
Oh, see, I thought he was going to be like, it's all about Philip Michael Thomas or Jan Michael Vincent.
I know you always like that.
God, I love that.
But we'll get back to the slaying the art world later. Now, as for his last name, Volpe, he kept that one unchanged. And it was fitting, though, because as he's pointed out to the New York Times, in Italian, the word Volpe means fox.
Yeah.
Which obviously fits who he is because he's cunning like a fox. Now, Todd Michael Volpe was the son of an Italian tailor. He was raised in Yonkers, which is, I checked the map, just above and to the left of the Bronx.
Okay.
And so there his family struggled economically. However, young Todd had his eyes fixed on the horizon, and I don't mean the Bronx. He planned to make something of himself one day, something beyond being the son of an Italian tailor. However, before that day arrived, before he could find his future on his own and escape being the poor son of a tailor, he bucked social expectations, and he didn't follow his dad into the tailor industry. Instead, as a teen, he found a different line of work that involved dressing people, though. Only in his case, his clients were dead. You see, young Todd worked as an assistant to a mortician.
Oh.
An embalmer's apprentice.
That's good. That's steady work.
Totally. I mean, someone dies every day. So
Exactly, if we're lucky.
working for a mortician taught old Todd a ton of vital skills that would come in handy later on. For instance, he learned how to care for relatives of the deceased. He learned to soothe their worries and concerns, to listen to them, to really get at the heart of their emotions in the moment and speak to those. Mm-hmm. He also learned how, despite their grief, to upsell them into pricier purchases.
Oh my God, yeah.
Now,
yeah.
young Todd also learned how to grow a business by focusing on the folks who often get overlooked, but who are also key referrals for new customers. See, being a mortician's assistant, that meant he learned to curry favor with hospital staff, nursing home employees, beat cops of the NYPD. And
mob.
And that's not a good one. And that is how, Elizabeth, one snowy Christmas Eve, young Todd was working in a rowboat, pulling floaters out of the Hudson River.
Oh, are you kidding?
Literally dragging up new business. Yes.
Wait, what?
Yes. He had a very interesting teenage years.
What was that? That wasn't part of his job, was it?
Finding new work, finding bodies.
He just went around looking for bodies in the river?
You ever seen the movie Mother Jugs and Speed?
No.
Yeah, well, it was with Raquel Welch, the guy who played JR on the Ewings, on Dallas.
Yeah.
And then Bill Cosby. They play ambulance drivers, right? So
right.
Was it Larry Hagman?
But that's a movie.
I know, but I'm saying back then, the ambulances would compete for business. So they would both show up to a car accident and then try to get the person in the ambulance because it wasn't all worked out.
But wouldn't the coroner have to take the body, identify the body?
Apparently, if he pulls it on the boat,
is he telling people
shows
he
it
did
to
this?
a beat cop. They can write out the death notice.
He's
there.
telling people. He told this story.
I don't know how it works. I wasn't in New York in the late '60s.
He made up this story,
so
and you bought it hook, line, and sinker.
totally fell for it.
You didn't think critically.
I should have fact checked this.
You really should.
So, on his 21st birthday, Elizabeth, this story comes from his memoir. So another one, like it could be him lying to me.
He's full of bull crap.
Yeah, well, he came to work with his mortician boss, and what does he find waiting for him? If you said a birthday gift, since it was 21st birthday, you'd be dead wrong.
Oh.
Dead wrong.
Oh,
now,
I like that. That was good.
What he found was instead a corpse on the table waiting for him, all ready to be prepped and preserved. Only this birthday corpse was dressed in a red ribbon, just like a gift waiting to be opened.
Ew.
Mortician sense of humor, I guess. Now, this was another business lesson, though, for him. He learned that working as a mortician's assistant, the importance of presentation.
But I mean, like, what if you find out that's your uncle and that he's been
Not to a mortician, it ain't.
No, I know, but like if you go in there, you
well, hopefully
take
no
your
one from the
member.
family sees this. This is all back of the house. This is like
There
on
are
a
eyes
table.
everywhere, Zaron.
Now, back then,
Back then,
you had
no.
so many places no
You
one would
could-
ever see.
You could get away with so much back in
Oh
the
my
day.
God, the panopticon was so far from coming into being. People
Yeah.
didn't have to worry. As long as they're like, the old idea of being a back room, there were back rooms
Oh,
everywhere.
everything. Yeah.
So this is going down in a back room.
I like it.
Anyway, all of this would serve him well in the art world, these lessons he learned as being an embalmer's apprentice. And that, Elizabeth, was the world he dreamed of one day joining. Now, he, of course, cast about and being a tailor's son, and he looked for a role model, someone he could be like, because if you can see it, you can be it. So he's like, I need somebody who was like, that's who I want to be like. His role model that he picked was an art dealer. And he's like, that's what I'd like to be one day. And this art dealer was a man named Joseph Duveen. He was one of the most famous, I'm talking world famous, and unscrupulous art dealers of the early 20th century.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Duveen was British. He was, technically, I should, I guess, give his status. He was the first Baron Duveen, if you're keeping score. He was the son of an art dealer himself, and he was educated in the UK, and then he kind of was, he turned loose his talents on America. You see, Duveen used his British pedigree to schmooze and manipulate the nouveau riche Americans looking to buy great art.
Oh, yeah. It got an accent.
Oh my God,
You're in.
completely. And his clients is like a who's who list of robber barons and American oligarchs.
Yeah.
His client list included names like J.P. Morgan, William Randolph Hearst, John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Mellon, Henry Clay Frick. I mean, like you throw a dart at a board of robber barons,
Yeah.
it's his client list.
That's the Knoedler Gallery. I wonder if he was up
Exactly.
in there with them.
I did not come
Or
across
a
that.
competitor.
Possibly, but he was more of an art dealer than a gallerist.
Okay.
So, being an art dealer, he would ship European masterpieces across the Atlantic over to America. And doing this, he makes a huge fortune, right? He's providing respectability to the robber barons and their new wealth.
Yeah.
And the art that he sold them would become basically the key pieces of America's great museums.
Sure.
So, Duveen, however, was known to have a let's say, less respectful attitude towards the masterpieces than one would expect or hope for from a highly regarded art dealer. For instance, Duveen would often pay to restore the masterpieces. He's like, can we shine that up? So he would tell the restorers, maybe scrape off all that old yellowed varnish and apply a slick new high gloss finish for the Americans.
Oh, God.
So that way the artwork would show up and be all glistening and gleaming.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, who wants a dusty old masterpiece for the amount
That's right.
they're spending on this? Not America's newly minted robber barons. Now, it's also alleged that Duveen would often sell the nouveau riche American industrialists fake masterpieces. Because, who among them could tell a fraud from the real thing?
So true.
So one key to Duveen's success in the art world was that he understood human behavior. He could manipulate it like the practice fingers of a pianist playing a Steinway, right? Mm-hmm. He knew how to create hype. He knew how to satisfy desires. Sometimes, for instance, he would bribe the house staff of a robber baron to learn what it was that they were truly coveting, and then he would just show up with that.
Oh my God.
That makes the sales process far easier
right?
and far more lucrative. So Duveen was this art dealer and full-on scoundrel, right? But his presentation was impeccable, and as such, he became the ideal role model for an unscrupulous wannabe art dealer like Todd Michael Volpe.
Like generations later, right?
Yes, he's doing this in the 20s, and now Todd Michael Volpe is basically working in the late 60s. In fact, in 1968, he officially goes into business as an art dealer. He and his cousin, Vance Jordan, they purchased this old, dilapidated warehouse in the Soho neighborhood of New York. And this, by the way, is long before Soho was cool. It's real estate highly valuable. This is when edgy artists and galleries were just first pouring into the area to take advantage of the cheap rents of the old industrial buildings.
Sure.
And they were turning that hood into the Soho we'd recognize today.
Yeah.
So the Jordan Volpe Gallery, it opened for business at 457 West Broadway at Houston Street.
Okay.
Right? Now, thus the Soho. So there they offered artwork to the latest generation of new money Americans looking to buy status and respectability. He's like, oh, I can find me some industrialist types. Now, Elizabeth, the Jordan Volpe Gallery collection, it first began with a simple recliner chair. Just a chair.
Just a chair.
You see, Volpe, he was visiting a friend, and he saw this recliner. It was old, but it also had this quality that was unmistakable. So, also curiously, it bore this 3-word phrase that the designer / furniture builder etched into it. And the phrase was, als ik kan, which means the best I can do.
Okay.
Now, that furniture maker's name was Gustav Stickley. And he was so charmed by this that Volpe bought the Stickley recliner from his friend for $75. Now, to give you a little backstory on Gustav Stickley, he's this furniture maker who'd very much gone his own way during the Victorian era. Back when opulent design was all the rage, Stickley preferred simple design, so what some would call Puritan style.
Okay.
Anyway, Stickley's recliner was the start of a collection of arts and craft furniture that would set the Jordan Volpe Gallery on its road to success in the 1970s and also change the art world.
Yeah.
Because for the next decade, these two cousins, they popularized what came to be called mission art pieces.
Which I love.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Now, they also made their name as dealers of arts and craft furniture. They made that the hip thing in the 70s. And this is where Volpe's fox-like understanding of human nature and his earnest imitation of the British art dealer Duveen, they merged to create his business model for his gallery. Now, Volpe was particularly good at marketing. He would come up with ingenious displays that played up the art's appeal. In a very short time, his gallery made a name for itself as the next big thing in the New York art scene. That's at this point taking off, right?
Yeah.
Not since the 50s had New York been as cool as it was in the 70s. And Stickley's furniture becomes the new must-have item for any self-respecting collector in the 1970s New York art scene. So, Elizabeth, you would see, like when a buyer would walk into the Jordan Volpe Gallery, they'd be met with what looked to be basically artifacts from this disappearing era of like undervalued American art, right? This really like simple furniture. And Volpe would then use dramatic lighting to cast these objets d'art and turn them into like not just a hand-fashioned recliner, but this simple yet unique artistic statement. And people loved his presentations. This tailor's son, this former mortician's assistant, he knew how to set a scene and create a memorable display.
Right.
And in fact, his gallery shows, the lighting style he used, his presentation aesthetic, all of that, it's still hip and popular to this day. You will find imitators aping it all around the world today.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, he like set the mode. Now, as a result, Volpe's, eye-arresting displays, thanks to those, the doors of the Jordan Volpe Gallery become this portal for art world icons and celebrities. Like on any given day, you might see artists like Andy Warhol or Robert Mapplethorpe just perusing the scene.
Wow.
Or you might find famous buyers like Malcolm Forbes of Forbes magazine or Mario Cuomo of New York politics fame.
Mario.
Anyway, one day in walks the actor Jack Nicholson. And it's hard to convey to young folks today how cool Jack Nicholson was in the 1970s. But imagine the coolest straight male celebrity you can think of.
Yeah.
And then double it. That's how cool he was. I was looking for quotes about this, but I found mostly like movie reviews and they would kind of hint at like, oh, he's the new Brando, all this stuff. I was like, how do we convey it? I found a writer from Time magazine who once wrote of Jack Nicholson that, quote, more than any other actor alive, Jack happily looms like some trickster colossus over the entire Hollywood landscape, and no one anywhere begrudges him his dominion.
Yeah,
that's like, well, you're going to sell it, son, sell it.
He's rolling around with Angelica Houston.
Totally.
And they're just like, and he was such a phenomenal actor. I mean, I'm sure he still could pull it out if he had to.
And also he did all the things of like having a little hint of danger, a bunch of sexiness, an irreverent attitude, but also he could do his job. So he was competent. He wasn't relying on any of those.
And I like that he now is just like, to hell with everything. I just do what I want.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
Kind of always that way. So imagine this same trickster colossus striding into one of the hippest new art galleries in Soho to shop for some stickly furniture. And Jack likes what he sees, so he buys some art. Then later on, Jack wants to buy some more art. And suddenly, the Jordan Volpe Gallery has the coolest man in Hollywood, if not the world, regularly swinging by.
Yeah.
This alone was huge for the gallery. But this, Elizabeth, was just the beginning for Todd Michael Volpe. As he recalled, and I quote, "I was the center of the American art world in New York for 10 years. My first relationship was with Jack Nicholson. He started buying and selling art. Eventually, I became his dealer." And that became the beginning of his crime career.
Oh, no.
Let's take a little break. And when we get back, Elizabeth, Todd Michael Volpe goes to Hollywood.
Oh, boy.
And we're back, Elizabeth.
Hello.
Okay, so where were we? All right, it's the 1970s, late 1970s. The Jordan Volpe Gallery is at the center of this new energy that's revitalizing the New York art scene. He's making mad money for himself, one of the owners. This gallery has rich New Yorkers buying flea market finds for top dollar. And this all starts to attract members of the new Hollywood acting scene, namely and most notably Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
And this is when the dam bursts for Volpe. In his memoir entitled Framed, Todd Michael Volpe tells his own story as best as he can remember it. And his memoir is just filled with all these like wild anecdotes, especially from his time selling art to celebrities, obviously. And there's this one story of him selling a stickly rocking chair to Harvey Keitel.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and being Harvey Keitel, he doesn't just breeze in and buy a chair.
Sure.
No, instead he has 12 different stickly rocking chairs sent to his apartment in the West Village.
And this is Keitel in like the 70s, 80s?
Yeah, like late 70s, early 80s. So Harvey Keitel then plops down in each one and he test rides it. And he wants to clock if he likes the rhythm of the chair's rock. And he does this in the most Harvey Keitel way possible, all furrowed brow and like grunts of appreciation. Finally, he finds of the dozen sticklies, that one stickly rocking chair that he likes the rhythm of its rock. And he buys that one.
Wow.
Now, this gives it kind of his key to success. Todd Michael Volpe treats his Hollywood actor clients in the way that they like to be indulged.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
So this eventually leads to him moving out to Hollywood so he can be their on-call art dealer.
Huh.
Yeah, unlike New York buyers who want like one precious objet d'art, the Hollywood types, like say Barbara Streisand, who was a client of his, they want to curate an aesthetic.
Right.
So that means they buy art objects by the dozens, by the score, right?
That's a fun job.
Completely. Can you imagine that? So
awesome.
Again, they would have like, they would keep the art for like, maybe 7-10 years or so. And then once the art fad or the trend switches up or they get that 7-year itch, once the star grows tired of the objects around their house, they sell them all.
Yeah.
And then they buy more.
Start all over.
So this is a perfect arrangement for an art dealer like Volpe because he gets them coming and going.
Right,
He's
right.
like, I'll buy more stuff for you. I'll sell the old stuff. And he's getting a commission on all of it.
Right.
Now, as Todd Michael Volpe tells it, eventually the producer of Tim Burton's Batman, Joel Silver. Right? He's the one who convinces him to move out to Hollywood, not Jack Nicholson. According to Volpe, Joel Silver and I became very close friends. He brought me to Hollywood, introduced me to a lot of very important people in the art world. People like Terry Semel and Bob Daly and Bruce Willis, and I ended up selling art to all these people. My life was wonderful, the pinnacle of my life. Now, Elizabeth, in case you're curious or confused, Terry Semel, Bob Daly, these may not be familiar names, but Terry Semel was the president and chief operating officer of Warner Brothers back in the 80s and eventually in the 90s. So he was there for making the first Batman, which saved Warner Brothers.
Right.
He becomes the chairman, a co-chairman of Warner Brothers with Bob Daly, the other co-chairman.
Okay.
So that's why he was so excited to sell them stuff.
And that's the thing is we hear these like marquee names of Nicholson and Bruce Willis. But then it's the real money guys.
Yes.
are the ones that you don't hear their names. You're not familiar with it. They're the heads of studios and
they're
the
giving art
movers
as
and
gifts
shakers.
to the people,
Yes.
not just for themselves. They'll buy
Yes.
Jack Nicholson a chair or whatever.
Right, exactly.
So these are like you point out, these are sort of wealthy folks. They need an art dealer on call, someone who knows the good stuff,
Yeah,
right? And Volpe's
yeah.
happy to be that for them. Now, he first helps the producer Joel Silver decorate his newly built mansion with all expensive art, right? As Joel Silver told the New York Times, he was extremely helpful to me when I first began collecting. And so Silver, he would fly to New York, visit the Jordan Volpe Gallery, and as he would later tell the New York Times, it was like going to a museum where everything was for sale. Most of the very great objects went through his hands. Now,
It's so crazy how Joel Silver sounds like Kermit the Frog. Isn't that weird?
yeah, I only do Muppet voices. He also said that Volpe had this incredible eye. And that also he, quote, knew where everything was and helped me put together a wonderful collection. Now, if you ask Todd Michael Volpe about this same period of time, as he told the New York Times, quote, if Joel said, I want an Innis or a Benton, or Barbra Streisand said, I want a Parrish. I love Parrish. I'd go out and find it for them. I would do these things for very little money. If I'd see a painting for Jack for like $175,000, I'd charge him $185,000. I wouldn't charge him $350,000 and put the money in a stock portfolio. Why? Because I wanted their friendship. I believe that if I was good to these people, then they would turn around and say, okay, now it's Todd's turn. We're going to give him a shot.
Okay.
I don't believe a word of that.
I don't, but I do believe that Barbra Streisand would have Maxfield Parrish
Yes.
all over her house.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought you would like that. Good call.
Thank you.
Now, Elizabeth, people who get a taste of it, a real taste of it, they often want that Hollywood life for themselves.
Sure.
They begin to desire that level of global fame and that sort of power that comes with it, wherein they can make their dreams come true up on the silver screen.
Yeah.
Like we always hear our various criminals talk about how this is just like a movie, or I learned from the movies.
Yes.
Like we all know that if it's a movie, somehow it's bigger than life, more important than life. It's like myths have come to life.
Yeah, it's our shared mythology and language.
Right? And this is true even today. I mean, even though movies are dying, still someone like Jeff Bezos, right? He's like, the second richest man in the world? He still wants to be cool and have cool, famous friends on his yacht. He wants to be a star too.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
it's like, bro, you can just be
And
Jeff
he's
Bezos.
so bad at it.
Of course,
Like
'cause-
for someone who's so rich, he dresses like such a dweeb and like
He's paying someone else.
You know,
He
you
doesn't
s-
have taste. The stars have
you
taste.
see all those things though, like on Instagram, I'll see these, they're rather rude of like, you're not ugly, you're just poor. And it'll show like, someone before their fame and,
Yeah.
and the quote unquote glow up. But like, why, like Jeff Bezos wears the worst, most ill-fitting clothes.
Oh, yeah.
And he looks like such a dingus.
And the way he walks now and poses and tries, he makes his
and
clothes move
because
weird.
I think they all start taking that human growth hormone.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is all allegedly. Don't sue me, Jeff. But anyway, he fascinates me because it's like he tries so hard.
Oh, yeah.
And misses the mark
But
over and over
he
and
so
over again.
clearly is desperate to be like a star, like on the level of George Clooney.
Yes.
It's like, bro, that's not your lane.
Yeah,
Like,
and
just
his
be
his
you.
wife is just as much like trying so hard and missing the mark.
Oh yeah, she used to be like on the news in LA. So like late at night, like at midnight when I'd be watching the news, there she'd
Yeah.
be, and I'd be like, "Oh, I remember Lauren Sanchez." And so like I thought like she was like okay at her job, but I always like she was the late night person.
Yeah.
that should tell you something.
Well, she's now apparently hired Law Roach as her stylist,
Of
and
course.
she makes his work look terrible.
I bet he hates that, but
Oh my God.
he loves the payday though. I'm sure
does love
So
the
get
payday.
get paid, Law.
God bless him.
Now, Todd Michael Volpe, he's no different. He also gets out to Hollywood. He's like, I want to be a star.
Sure.
Eventually, he was like, actually, more than that. He's like, what I really want to do is direct.
Stop.
I swear to
Are
God. As Joel Silver told the New York Times, once a house is finished and you've completed the process, it's over. But Todd had fantasies. He really thought he could break into the movies. He really thought he'd win an Academy Award. In fact, he'd probably already written his acceptance speech.
Oh.
So,
Well, you
yeah.
can see how he's got like a direction of how to stage things and how to present a story.
So he's
and
like, oh, yeah, I can do this. It's just moving characters around and a little blocking. Sure. Camera
I
direction.
can sit in a director's chair.
He's like, when I was prepping a body as a mortician's embalmer, I was telling a story. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So back to
Yes.
Jack Nicholson, our focus. It's 1986 when Todd Michael Volpe relocates to Hollywood. He starts working as an art advisor, art dealer to Joel Silver, Barbra Streisand, later Bruce Willis, but mainly he partners with Jack Nicholson. Now, the two men, they strike this deal. Jack Nicholson gives him $610,000 to start their business. Volpe is in charge with finding art, buying it, restoring it if necessary, and then he's supposed to sell it, and the two men split the profits.
Okay.
It's not a 50-50 split. Jack gets 60%, Volpe gets 40%. And basically, he's like, Jack's the silent backer, or he's like, he's like the front man if it was like a weed deal. He's like, I'll front you the bag, you go out and sell it, come back, give me profits, I'll get you some more.
To put it in terms we can all understand.
So getting paid for Volpe's eye and taste is with the deal, right?
Yeah.
So since Volpe doesn't have an art gallery in LA, instead he displays the art in his home and he has buyers come by to check what he has on offer.
Which I think they would probably like even more.
Oh my God, they loved it, right? And this also works super well. He's got a house up in the hills. They drive up, and then they get to walk in and see it like, oh, this is what it would look like under natural light conditions and so forth.
Yeah.
Now also, at this point, this is working super well, but he finds that there's this shoehorn that almost guarantee a sale. He just starts telling people that this was owned by Jack Nicholson. So he just uses Jack's name to sell the art. And he basically adds Jack to the provenance of the pieces. And as Volpe tells it himself, quote, I would always say, look, this painting came out of Jack Nicholson's collection. When I was buying and selling for Jack, I was using our investment group. I would say, Jack owned this painting. The truth is, it never even hit his hands. Now, no matter if this is all true or not, the idea that art once belonged to Jack Nicholson is enough to sell at a high premium. People want and covet what stars have. Like, oh, I can tell people that Jack Nicholson owned this.
Yeah.
So
I'm in that rarefied air now. He and I have the same taste.
Exactly. Yeah. He's sweated on this. You could probably swipe it for his DNA. So anyway, their arrangement is going gangbusters. At one point, the two men, they buy an Aston Martin and with plans to restore it. Mm-hmm. And they plan to share it. Like, I'll get it on Friday, you get it on Sunday.
I see the montage, right, with them riding around like best friends, working on a car,
pull over on Mulholland, they switch seats,
painting,
and they keep going to the beach. Now, this is all obviously part of Volpe's attempts to look the part of a Hollywood art dealer to the stars, because remember, he knows he needs to present the perfect appearance to show he has all the trappings of success. And my Van Volpe, he's living large at this point, like no doubt about it. As he told the New York Magazine, if I wanted a Steinway piano, they'd deliver it that afternoon. I'd spend $100,000 on just one exhibition. And he means like in his own home.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in an interview with the New York Times, Volpe, he was sitting there and they describe what he's wearing. They're at this hoity-toity Soho restaurant called De Silvano, I'm not sure. It's an art world hangout, according to the New York Times. And as the paper described Volpe's outfit, he's dressed in a pair of blue jeans, a tasteful white polo shirt, a tweed jacket, and a pair of polished alligator skin loafers.
He's just
that guy.
Every 80s.
Yes, exactly. And he's explaining how everything went so wrong for him in Hollywood to the Times, right? And as Volpe tells it, every life has a story. Whether it's right or wrong, good or bad, people identify with tragedy. I don't live a haphazard life. I had a mission, a plan, and it wasn't to manipulate people.
Really?
Yeah. This is exactly what he did, though, which is ironic. It's how he made his name in the first place.
Bragging about how he manipulates people.
It's also what his hero and role model, the art dealer Joseph Duveen, did, right? So I think he's being kind to himself. Well, regardless, to be fair, I think when Volpe, what he really means is that he never expected what would happen would happen.
Okay.
Right? And especially when everything was going so well. He was partying with Hollywood stars late into the night. Like, it's 1 a.m., Barbra Streisand. Should we, have some food delivered? So, that's, the lifestyle they're doing, right? He's making a mint-selling art to producers and financiers. I mean, he lived well. He ate well. He drove nice cars. He wore expensive clothing.
He's living the life.
He had a Japanese garden at his place that required specialized groundskeepers. He drove, obviously, that restored Aston Martin that he co-owned with Jack Nicholson, right? So, and that, of course, obviously requires a team of specialized mechanics. All in all, over the course of his 2-decade career as an art dealer, Volpe estimates that he spent $28 million just to buy art and to live well. Now,
all right.
a lot of that went to the living well. But
Yeah.
we'll get into the numbers later. And then, Elizabeth, it all unravels.
No.
So how did it all come undone? What was the thorn in this elephant's foot? I was hoping you'd ask that, Elizabeth. Great question,
I know,
by the way.
so good.
There was this collapse of the go-go 80s art market, right?
Yeah.
Because the 80s, just everything was selling. It was
Sure.
incredible. I mean, like, if you've seen Beetlejuice, the original,
Yes.
there's a whole scene where they're talking with the art dealer friend of Delia, right?
Yeah.
So that gives you a good sense of what the art market was like. It was pretentious. It was full of itself. It was like, I'm thinking mauve, right?
Yeah.
So this all comes to a screeching halt when a recession hits in America in 1990, and it lasts into 1991, which eventually gives us, it's why George H.W. Bush doesn't get reelected and
Right.
Clinton is elected. This thing was nobody saw this coming. They're like, we just survived the Black Monday in 87. We thought everything's good.
But they didn't want to stop believing.
No. And so the falling prices, the weakened demand for art, it leads to this change in Volpe's ability to pull his financial shenanigans that he was using to pay for his lavish lifestyle. It really all came to a head when these two Hollywood super producers figured out that Volpe had sold them fraudulent artwork and they demanded their money back. So these super producers were Frank Marshall and Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh.
Now, Marshall, he's the producer on like Star Wars, Empire Strikes
Right.
Back. Kathleen Kennedy was the eventual head of Lucasfilms,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
They also produced Jurassic Park for Spielberg. They also co-founded Amblin Entertainment with Spielberg.
Yeah, big
They're
dogs.
super producers, right? So Volpe learned that they liked artwork from the interbellum, that period of time between World War I and World War II specifically.
Fascinating period of time.
Completely. Now, Volpe, he goes and sells them a Thomas Hart Benton sculpture for $83,000. And he tells them that the sculpture was made in that interwar period. And when in fact, the truth is it was cast in 1970.
Oh.
They figure this out because they're not dumb people.
Yeah.
They demand their money back. The trouble for Volpe is he doesn't have the 83 grand just lying around, and he tells them like, and he can't raise it either. He's like, he doesn't have like assets he can sell. So instead he offers to resell that artwork. I was like, give it back to me. I'll resell to some other buyer, sucker.
Yeah.
And then I'll reimburse you the profits from that sale. But by then, it's way too late because not only did they come to him, they'd already gone to a lawyer, and the lawyer had done the research. And the lawyer, as they told it, we quickly discovered that this was a giant Ponzi scheme involving works of art. So the Ponzi scheme is revealed for the first time. The married couple sues him, and they got money for days for a lawyer.
Yeah, they do.
So as you know, Hollywood is a small town. Word starts to spread quickly.
Yeah.
Soon other buyers figure out they've been conned or defrauded, and they demand their money back too. And remember, the art market at this point is dead. There's a recession going.
Right.
It's nearly impossible to find new buyers in order to reimburse all these clients that he's conned.
Well, and they're new buyers for pieces that are fakes, right?
Well, no, there's some real stuff. Like he had this one Salvador Dali painting that Dali had painted it for the Hitchcock movie Spellbound.
Okay.
It was the real painting. It was absolutely real. And he bought it, Volpe bought it as an investment. And then he sold pieces of the investment. Like, if you can get 1/8 of this, if you give me this amount of money, you can get 1/8. And when I eventually sell it, you'll get 1/8 of the profits.
Right, okay.
And he sold more than 8 portions.
Oh, I see.
You see what I'm talking about? So he's working at all sorts of weird financial stuff. Sometimes he's faking stuff. Sometimes he's lying about it. Sometimes he's saying a date is wrong. Sometimes he's just overselling it. He's doing everything he can to con everybody halfway to the middle, and there he is in the middle.
Oh my God.
So one dealer in that deal lost $500,000 on I don't know how many eighths they had, but that's what much they lost. So this also starts to put more pressure on Volpe. He's got more and more clients from all sorts of deals upset at him.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's his main business partner, Jack Nicholson. And remember, they were buying art together and splitting the profits.
Right.
But it wasn't like he would drive over to Jack's house and hand him a briefcase of cash or like a check for his cut of the profits. Instead, they had this investment fund. He would tell Jack what he sold, and then he would just, put the profits in the fund's account.
And tell him it's in there.
Now, in order to keep up his luxurious Hollywood lifestyle, Volpe had been skimming from that fund pretty much from the start.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he would tell him remember he said I'd buy a painting for 175 and I'd tell him, 185.
Right.
I wouldn't tell him 350. The reason why he might have come up with these numbers is he probably had some guilt going and he was just telling what he actually did.
Sure.
Because he was lying to Jack about the numbers and then telling him here's your cut, here's your 60% of the profits.
Right.
And it was not an accurate 60%.
Well, and because it's such a side thing for Nicholson.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's not
going to
be
look.
focusing on it.
And also, he's not going to pay attention to himself. He's got a business manager for that.
Yeah.
And the business
So
manager
what's his
doesn't,
story?
how suspicious is he going to be as long as profits keep showing up?
Right,
It's just,
right.
like he's going to know what the numbers are for tax write-offs,
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
So basically from the start, starting in 86, it's now 1991, and this is when he gets caught short and the recession's hit. So to make matters worse, there's always people suing him. Talk is starting to get around. As Volpe recalls, I was always putting money back into the fund. I did that successfully for like 5 years, but when money got held up in the 1990s, I began trading things, sometimes for far less than I paid for them.
Oh, boy.
No, when he says trading things, some of those things didn't belong to him, but he sold them anyway. So people would be like, he's like, I'm going to get back to you on the profits. I almost have a buyer. And he's already sold it. It's gone, right?
Yeah.
Now, to make up the money he skimmed from Jack Nicholson and all the money he owed to Frank Marshall, Kathleen Kennedy, Volpe starts selling off art that doesn't belong to him, art that belongs to other clients. Then he'd tell them, it's sold for far less, or, like I said, he's waiting for the buyer to pay him or the buyer, whatever. He's just lying all the way. So now he's compounding his problems.
Yeah.
He also sold that Aston Martin that he bought with Jack Nicholson. Didn't tell him about that. Now, I assumed, you would assume that he would tell Jack because they're all buddy-buddy, and also you would assume he would tell the buyer that it was Jack Nicholson's to improve the provenance of the Aston Martin. So maybe talk will get back to Jack. And he was like, hey, I bought this from Jack. You got Jack's car? Anyway, after he sold the car, he forgot to tell Jack or give him his cut of the car. Now, finally, he used his relationship with other art galleries to borrow money from them for the collateral. He would use artworks that didn't belong to him. So now he's promising people's artwork to get money, literal cash fronted to him so he can give it to people.
Right.
Like, here's the money I owe you. So he's just,
the panic of it all
completely.
has got to be,
Now, Jack Nicholson's business manager, this guy, Robert Colbert, you'd hear a simple story from him if you were to ask him, how would you describe all of this? As he told the New York Times, what happened was that he moved to California and got into the California lifestyle, which was above his means. And if you rob Peter to pay Paul, all of a sudden it fell apart on him. So
just straight to the point.
Right? Just laying it down there. Now, meanwhile, being under pressure like he was, Volpe sought refuge. He escaped into the forgiving arms of cocaine.
Oh,
because Elizabeth, if your life's not going well, the best thing to do is to start doing massive amounts of cocaine.
It's cheap.
It'll fix everything.
It makes you a fabulous person to be around.
Totally. And, if we're saying fix, if you mean like it gives you all sorts of new problems, that would be accurate because that's what happened. As Volpe told the New York Times, by 1993, my cash flow problems had become severe. So,
he's already like lying all this stuff, and now he's just going to set money on fire by doing coke all the time.
So what does he do now? Well, he could no longer keep up appearances. He's doing a bunch of blows. He looks erratic. So Volpe flees Hollywood and he goes back to New York, right? As he told the Times, I didn't own anything. I didn't have a stock portfolio. I stuck money under my mattress like my mother. I kept a cookie jar in my house, and if I needed something, I'd use it, right? So he's reduced now to money in the cookie jar and under a mattress. Somehow Volpe still manages to live luxuriously, though. When he tries to get back to New York, he's trying to hop back into the New York art world and make the money he owes the people in L.A.
Yeah.
And so he needs to keep up appearances, so he plans to make money there by conning people. So he's got to look like, hey, everything's going well. And also he plans to con his old friends. So he's God. I got to pay my new friends with my old friends' money. So for 3 months or so, he's residing at the Regency Hotel, but not just in any room. He lives in the presidential suite.
Oh, my God.
In 1993, the presidential suite rented for anywhere between $1,000 and $1,800 a day.
In 93? Oh, my God.
And I updated that for 2026
money. Thank you. That was my
money.
next question.
That would be $2,250 to $4,050 a day. And he was there for 3 months.
Oh, my God.
Now, to afford that sort of luxury, Volpe had to con his friends, the owners of the Regency Hotel, Steve and Patty Tisch, but he knew he could pull this off with them because they knew him as the man at the center of the New York art scene. So it would take him a little while. And the lawsuits in Hollywood hadn't hit the newspapers yet, and they hadn't made their way back to New York yet. And the communities weren't as communicative back then.
Yeah.
So the gossip, is usually...
There's no internet.
Exactly. So as Volpe recalls it, quote, I was hanging around with Steve and Patty Tisch. They own the Regency. All my clients stayed there. I did business there, the breakfast the power lunches. It's how you do business. It's how you live your life. So that's what he's doing, like still high on cocaine, still doing the business power lunches.
He sounds like the worst person to be around at this point.
Oh, completely. And he's stalling to pay for the presidential suite. He's paying little bits when he can, but mostly he's just running up a tab. Eventually, the tab is too great for anyone to ignore, and he's told he has to leave the presidential suite. And when he does, he still owes the owners $11,000, and that is after they gave him a steeply discounted rate.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll cut it in by
It's like $100 a night.
Seriously, exactly. Meanwhile, Volpe is still trying to win or swing a big deal to get back into Hollywood. He's like, I gotta get back to Hollywood. So he's trying to get his client, Terry Semel, the co-chairman of Warner Brothers, to buy a screenplay idea he had. Elizabeth, you can take the boy out of Hollywood, but much harder to take the Hollywood out of the boy.
A screenplay will save it.
Oh, yeah. Even back in New York, Todd Michael Volpe, as I said, still got his plan to get into Hollywood. And his plan is, once again, I plan to direct. I really like to direct. I swear to you.
That's fast cash right there.
He'd optioned the life story of his hero and role model, Joseph Duveen. And he figured, if I can get a script in shape, sell that, all my money troubles will be over. They'll all disappear. I mean, this is such cokehead thinking.
I was just going to say that is cocaine logic right there.
He remembers thinking at the time, I'm going to sell the Duveen story, and then I'll get a writer's fee and a producer's fee, $300,000, maybe $400,000. Like, you can start to really hear the cocaine's in between the words. Now, if you ask him, he claims Semel was sending a car for him to take him to Warner Brothers, out to their jet, like their private jet, so he could then wing his way back out to Hollywood and talk deals. And this is how Volpe tells it. I'd fly to California in the Warner jet, and you have to live in a way that you look like you have class. I was one of them. But if you ask a spokesperson for Terry Semel, you hear a different story, such as what she told the New York Times, and I quote, "It never happened." Meanwhile, Volpe is still saying, I kept thinking, I'm going to get through this. Elizabeth, you think he got through it?
No.
Well, let's take a little break. And when after these messages, we'll get into how badly he missed getting through this. Elizabeth.
Zaron.
How you digging Todd Michael Volpe?
This guy, he's just too much.
A cocaine art dealer who's conned Jack Nicholson, the Warner Brothers, all of like the COO, the chairman, Joel Silver.
And like some of them
Barbara
deserve
Streisand.
it.
No, yeah. But at this point, luck is not on my dude's side. The option that he had on the book about Joseph Duveen, the art dealer, expired in the spring of '94. And there went his pipe dream of my screenplay is going to sell. So by 1995, Todd Michael Volpe, he has to file for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
His stuff is catching up to him, right? And in his bankruptcy paperwork, he decides, I'm going to write down everything I still owe people. And he gets up to his debt liabilities are $3.5 million. That's what he's trying to write off. However, by documenting all of his debts in his hope to have them written off, he creates this irrefutable paper trail.
Yeah.
Or as he later put it, by putting things in writing, I murdered myself.
Oh my God.
Now, I should point out, he's being metaphorical.
Well, yeah.
So we're good on our 99% murder-free. This is not a 1% exception.
But isn't this around the time, I think maybe it's a little later, that all the bankruptcy laws start to get revised?
It's under George W. Bush. He changes them.
Man.
You have to pay $3,500 before you can even talk about a bankruptcy.
Right. But it's like when you look at that gets plugged into so many other systems, like you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, also, it's just you literally saying, these are all the things I owe. It becomes a legal document, and people can come along and then use it to sue you. And there you are attesting to, yes, I did owe.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Well, then if you leave stuff off, if you leave creditors off off the schedule, then
You know better than I do. You worked for people.
I worked for a bankruptcy trustee for a while as a paralegal.
Yeah, you know this intimately.
I do.
So just imagine how screwed this client would be if your boss was having to deal with them. And also remember, he's still on cocaine. So
there's a lot of people.
Just a really sweaty.
You could almost see it on some of the pages as I would review the stuff that would come in. I think this does not make any sense. And you see little details about them emerge, and you can craft a story about the people. Oh, man.
So you ready for justice to catch up to this con man and art fraudster?
Yes, I am.
Will he be able to swing that one big payday he so desperately needs to get back in the good graces of Hollywood and repair his relationship with Jack Nicholson and everyone else he conned and defrauded?
Yeah.
Good question, Elizabeth. Rather than me answer that, Elizabeth, please close your eyes.
My eyes are closed.
I'd like you to picture it. It's 6 o'clock in the morning in New Hampshire, and all through the house not a creature is stirring, not even a coked-out mouse. And you, Elizabeth, are lying down for the moment because you are the top half of Todd Michael Volpe's silk pajamas. You notice a strange sound from outside the window. Is that? Yes, it is. It's a helicopter. You don't hear those often in New Hampshire. And then you hear another distinct sound. A loud, hard banging at the front door. It sounds like cops pounding on the door, which is exactly what it is. Only they're federal cops, aka the FBI. The banging wakes up Todd Michael Volpe. He exclaims, "What the ever-living?" His voice falls off away before he finishes his thought. He leaps up from his bed and tears back the drapes to his bedroom window, and he sees what you see. A squadron of local police and FBI guys with their jackets with their yellow letters FBI on the back. Some of them are even wearing bulletproof vests and carrying machine guns. Todd Michael Volpe exclaims, "Damn, we're in a tight spot." You don't know who he's talking to, it's just you and him, but you can tell he's terrified because you can feel his heart beating against your silk. He flees the bedroom and races through his house. He bounds down the wooden stairs and checks the front door peephole. Through the fisheye, he can see a few FBI guys on the front step. They pound on the door again, demanding he open up. In response, Volpe says, "What the hell's going on here?" With a deep and steadying inhale, Volpe opens the front door. You hear him as he asks, What are you here for?" The FBI agent on his front porch says, "Todd Volpe?" The silk of your pajamas lifts as Volpe responds, "Yes?" The FBI agent says, "We have a warrant for your arrest." Volpe sighs. It's finally happened. The feds have come for him. Without any warning, the FBI agents grab Volpe, yank him down the stairs, and march him over to the open door of a car. Now, fully in their custody, Volpe asks, "What's going on?" One of the many FBI agents doesn't answer, and instead asks him, "What do you know about Jack Nicholson? What do you know about Joel Silver? What do you know about Frank Marshall and Kathleen Kennedy?" You lift and fall as Volpe answers, "What are you asking me these questions for? I don't know." The serious-faced FBI guy says, "Because tomorrow morning, your name is going to be on the cover of every magazine and newspaper in the country. You're famous, pal." Volpe asks, For what?" And you hear the FBI agent sort of chuckle to himself, knowing that Volpe knows the answer, and then he says, rather flatly, "For defrauding people." So there you go, Elizabeth. The federal takedown of Todd Michael Volpe.
Oh, Todd.
So what happened after that? Well, for one, Volpe has to face down his old business partner, Jack Nicholson.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, that's going to be no fun. And you may be wondering, like me, what did his old friend and former business partner say once the ugly truth finally came to light?
I am wondering.
It's a great question,
you read
Elizabeth.
my mind.
Way to be on the beam.
Thank you.
Now, according to what Volpe told New York Magazine, quote, Jack Nicholson said, "Why didn't you just tell me you were having financial problems?" But I couldn't say, "I f***ed up," especially to someone like Jack. So I like that Jack's not petty about being conned. And as you pointed out earlier, he doesn't really care about the money. It's just like a kind of a fun business.
Right.
Instead, he's like, "Look, I know you meant well. Why didn't you come to me?"
Well, because he didn't mean well.
No.
I mean, it was like, oh, I mismanaged things and I
Yes.
kind of messed some stuff up. Then I think Nicholson would be like, more forgiving or understanding and be wounded that you didn't come to me for help. But no, he was robbing you, Jack.
Yeah, he's like one of those fish that hangs up by a shark's mouth.
Yes.
He just eats whatever the shark doesn't get into
He's
their
like,
mouth.
why didn't you come to me? Because I was too busy going through your bank account, man.
Exactly. But I do like that Jack is like basically a good guy about it, or at least
but I
someone
still don't think
who
I'd want
doesn't
to
care.
cross him.
Oh no, not at all. I definitely would not. But I
No.
mean, I'm surprised he wasn't angry. He wasn't like giving veiled threats about like, I know some bad people, right? Like I worked with Russ Meyer. I know some people who will collect that money. Anyway, what did the DOJ do now that Todd Michael Volpe's day in court had finally come? Well, Volpe was formally charged with 38 allegations of fraud and embezzlement for stealing $2.5 million from his former clients. He was facing a maximum of 25 years behind bars. He was 48 years old at the time.
Wow.
That'd be basically the rest of his good years.
Yeah.
His federal case starts in 97, it lasts through into 98. And so there he was, staring down a penalty of $1.2 million in fines on top of the restitution amount.
Right.
Possible prison sentence of 25 years. This is when the art dealer, self-made man, decides he's going to strike a bargain and that would change the course of his life because it saved it. Volpe recalls, quote, 2 minutes before I was ready to go into a courtroom, they offered me a plea agreement, and I went for it. I went to jail for 2 years.
Oh, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, from 25 to 2?
Sure.
Yeah. So he pleads guilty. The result, the DOJ, they drop 33 counts of wire fraud.
Well, and I don't think he didn't stand a chance at
No,
trial. There was
none.
so much against him.
He'd done everything wrong and documented it.
Yeah.
And then there was this whole hey, I'm going to bankrupt. Here's all of it on paper.
Yeah, under penalty of
and
perjury.
he gave that to the federal government. So all he had to do was just switch it from one department to another.
Exactly.
Anyway, Volpe agrees to restitution of $1.9 million to pay off his more than a dozen former clients who he'd turned into victims of his crimes. Mm-hmm. This list includes names like Jack Nicholson, Barbara Streisand, Frank Marshall, Kathleen Kennedy, but also I found interesting, one of the members of KISS. I looked really hard to find which one. Could not find it. I'm guessing it was Gene Simmons.
I was going to say, I'm leaning Simmons on this one.
He seems like a pretentious sort and also a mark.
Yes.
So I'm just saying. Anyway, when all was said and done, Volpe was sentenced to 28 months in federal prison. He gets sent to live in this very unluxurious 10 by 12 foot cinder block cell at Taft Correctional Institution down in Bakersfield, California.
Oh, okay.
Now, locked up, he had plenty of time to think about what he had done. And he also had some strange moments. For instance, he told New York Magazine, quote, I'm sitting in my cell in California and somebody rushes in with an envelope. It's the Streisand sale at Christie's. Quote, important American arts and crafts. But of course, that movement wouldn't exist without us. And then the guard says, okay, Volpe, get against the wall. I'm going to check your locker for any chicken from the mess hall.
Oh, God, with the high-low
Right?
on that one.
Totally.
He's got, a Christie's catalog and some purloined chicken.
Exactly. I love that he's still doing small crimes, stolen chicken at this point. So while he's in prison, Volpe begins to plan how to get back into the art world, right? He feels like he has the perfect client all picked out. As he told the New York Times, I know it sounds crazy, but I'd really love to build an art collection for Donald Trump. He's like a little boy with a lot of money and great vision. That's his mark. He's like, I got one shot of that guy. I can totally con him. No,
I'm breathing through it.
Setting his plan to con Trump aside, Elizabeth, do you want to guess what other plans Volpe came up with inside the old Iron Bar University?
Is he going to finish his screenplay?
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Well, for one, he decided, forget Joseph Duvine's life story. Now his life story would make a great movie.
Yeah.
So he joined the Ridiculous Crime Prison Book Club and began working on his memoir with the hope that he could turn the book into an Academy Award-winning movie.
Making stuff up.
But that's not all. As he told the New York Magazine, Volpe considered starting a new gallery, or as he put it, I thought of showing only prison artists. My cube was across from a Chinese man, one of San Francisco's wealthiest real estate entrepreneurs. He'd sit at his window drawing, and I'm saying, my God, this guy is as good as any artist in New York. But my life in the art world is finished. I'm working on a film project now. I'd like to do what Frank Abagnale did with Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, God.
So, yeah. When he gets out of prison, Volpe and his girlfriend, a literary agent, they get to work to make his dream come true. Oh, yes. He pens his memoir, which I told you is entitled Framed.
Right.
Which is a curious title since he was not framed.
Not at all.
But it's a cute art pun, I guess. Anyway. Now, if you ask him about his Hollywood plans, Volpe really wanted to work with Oliver Stone. He believed Oliver Stone could grasp his American story.
Oh, really?
As he told the New York Times, I've already talked to Oliver Stone about collaborating on an art world movie that would become the Wall Street of the art world. He's interested, but he's involved in a lot of things right now.
Okay, I'll tell you exactly how that went down. He sees Oliver Stone at a restaurant, walks up to him, hey, I'm a friend of this, and I've got this whole project.
Ask Frank Marshall about me.
Yeah, this is, I want to get you in on the ground floor. And Oliver Stone's like, I'm working on a lot of stuff. It sounds great.
Sounds great. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Now, if you asked Oliver Stone about their plans, his spokesman would explain, Mr. Stone is not interested in pursuing the project.
Yeah, because he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly. But you can't keep a good person down. You also can't keep a bad, scheming con man down.
No, you cannot.
So it didn't take him long to work his way back into the New York art world, Elizabeth, where he once again became a fixture and even won back the trust of buyers and sellers.
You're kidding.
By the early 2000s, you can see him showing his head up. He became involved with people such as friend of the show, Montel Williams. This is also how Volpe earned the trust of a very unique woman, one who wandered her way into the art world and had her story turned into a documentary. That film also featured Todd Michael Volpe, because when he heard her story, he saw dollar signs and possible newfound fame, so he agreed to help her, which is how he ended up in her documentary. So he made it back into movies.
Okay.
Elizabeth, you ever heard of the doc, Who the is Jackson Pollock?
No.
Came out in 2006. It's the story of Terry Horton, a retired truck driver turned dumpster diving granny and thrift store gold miner.
Okay.
One day, hunting for treasures, she buys this painting she likes, and she later discovers that it may or may not be a painting by Jackson Pollock. The story goes she was trying to squeeze the painting into her friend's trailer, and they found it was too large to fit through the door, so they thought about turning this, quote, ugly painting into a makeshift dartboard, but then they decided, you know what, I'll just sell it, see how much I can get for it on the open market. And by open market, I mean a garage sale. And that's when her friend came by, an art teacher. She spied this, quote, ugly painting and informed Terry it might be a masterpiece by Jackson Pollock. It could be worth an estimated $50 million.
What?
So in response, Terry Horton asked, who the is Jackson Pollock? Which gave the doc its title.
Okay.
Now, at this point, she learns who Jackson Pollock is and tries to get her painting authenticated. Trouble was, the work had no clear provenance.
Right.
Which means the galleries, the auction houses, they won't touch it. But by then, she's hooked on the idea of selling it for $50 million. So she thinks to herself, she could just make up the provenance.
Oh, honey.
Which is what she did.
Yeah.
She made up a bartender named Pops, who she claimed gave her the painting.
It's like corn pop.
Totally. But way more than like Joe Biden's old street hood friend. But this is just the tip of this strange iceberg of lies, Elizabeth, because then she goes bigger. She brings in Golden Age Hollywood to really sell her lie. She claims that Jackson Pollock was a dear friend of Pop's, and as Terry tells the documentary film cameras, quote, he'd get really drunk and slobbering, you know, kind of crying over missing Jackson and all of this stuff, and he would tell me these kind of risque stories, you know, and they were really funny, some of them were, and I thought, wow, I said, this is some relationship. I should have known who this guy was, but of course, he was much older than I was. Now, according to her, back in the 1940s, when Jackson Pollock was, quote, down on his luck, he went out to L.A. One day, he found himself part of this all-star alcoholic paint party in a snowstorm. More on this in a second. So imagine up at a mountain resort, this spot called Mount Baldy, which is in SoCal.
Yeah.
It's where Hollywood celebs used to run off to get away. There's this incredible list of 40 hair celebs who all get stuck together in a wicked snowstorm in this resort. So what do? They have a painting contest. They all paint their own paintings, then go, who made the best one? And one of them is Jackson Pollock, so nobody's going to win but him. Anyway, as Terry tells it, it snowed big time, and they could not get out. And Jackson always kept paints with him, wherever he was spending time at. So since they couldn't get out, he'd come up with the idea that they should all paint a picture. Now, this list of stars for this painting and drinking contest, according to Terry, is ridiculous.
Did he like have to construct a scaffolding for him to drop stuff? Like
not almost, not quite. Luckily, they're in a bar, so they've got places to work, and he's like leaning his canvas up against the mirror
for everybody.
Oh yeah, and now the list of stars who were at this all like drinking snowed in paint party, as Terry tells it, quote, they were all there. Cagney, Bogey, Gable, Davis, and the Duke, all painting away. Tough guy Broderick Crawford would only paint in the nude. She's just peppering in details. Now, for those keeping score, that's James Cagney, Humphrey Bogart, Clark Gable, Betty Davis, John Wayne.
Doesn't this sound like one of those AI paintings
right?
of all the celebrities like welcoming someone to heaven?
Yes, and there's naked Broderick Crawford and Jackson Pollock over his shoulder.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot. She also said Joan Crawford was there. As Terry claimed, Joan Crawford, quote, was there too. She was noisy and she was bothering everybody because she was up at the bar trying to watch Pollock and he didn't want anybody watching him. And so he always made it a point that you couldn't get rid of Joan Crawford. She was such a when you're trying to paint.
What?
Can I say I loved Joan Crawford being a pain in the ass while Betty Davis and James Cagney and John Wayne are trying to paint? And Jackson Pollock's like, get away.
You're doing like one of those paint and sips.
Yes.
Drinking wine.
So the story goes on. The documentary, Terry says, quote, I always thought she was a great actress, but so what? But Pops thought she was a because she just kept wanting to interfere and tell him how to do the painting. And he didn't want anybody in there watching him. So anyway, when it was all done and everybody come around with their paintings and everything to show each other, while Jackson's painting was like all in this mirror behind the bar, and they were all talking about it. And all of a sudden he said, wait a minute. And he said, I'm not finished yet. So then he got up on the bar and he signed it with his Now, the reason his little Richard was brought into the story was to explain why this so-called lost Jackson Pollock had no signature. And this is the story she comes up with.
Oh.
He signed it with his...
No.
Yes. So at this point, the documentary director asked Terry, where did you get this story? Where did this come from? And she just admits it. Where did it come from? I made it up. So
unbelievable.
Now we'll skip ahead so we can get Todd Michael Volpe's involvement in this story.
Please.
So one day Terry's in a bookstore and she finds his book framed. She reads up on him. She decides this former fraudster is the perfect person to partner with and help me sell this could-be, would-be Pollock to the auction houses. And get this, Volpe's, of course, down to help her. When she approaches him, he's like, oh, of course. He senses this would create a big splash in the art world. Yeah. It would reassert him as an art world star.
Sure.
And possibly a big payday along the way. It's like win-win-win.
Great.
So what happens? He tells Terry the painting, it won't fetch $50 million. Get that number out of your head. He tells her it could sell for $9 million. So that's good enough for her. Now they're onto it. So he also gives her this education on the nature of the art world and how perception works to create value, something obviously he knows uniquely well.
Yeah.
So Volpe explains to the documentary film cameras how he gives her his education. And I quote, I only saw the art world as a kind of through the looking glass experience, kind of like Alice in Wonderland, a lot of illusions, costumes, disguises, people who are masquerading. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors in the art world. Money is no object. It's big business, creating opportunities for hedge fund managers, high leveraging of art deals. It's all about money. It's about power. It's also about greed. You have to be very clever, very skillful, have enormous understanding of financing, art history, business. The art world is not what it was 20 years ago. It's a dog-eat-dog Shark Tank business where we would have seen Terry Horton as a peasant. So that's his assessment. Now, he's willing to give her this education. He tries to help her sell the fake Jackson Pollock to some of the usual suspects, some marks he thinks might go for it.
Yeah.
As he tells the cameras, we offered the painting to Steve Wynn, Bill Gates, David Geffen, lots of different people. And the answer is always the same until you get authenticity on the picture, until you get the art world to say, it's okay. We're not interested.
Yeah.
Now, if you're wondering, Terry Horton never did sell that painting.
Aww.
Yeah. But it did give Todd Michael Volpe one more spin in the limelight.
Well, I just got a documentary out of it.
Did Jack Nicholson watch the documentary? And did he give him a dark laugh?
Yeah, I wonder.
Hollywood. So, Elizabeth, what's our ridiculous takeaway here?
I love art crime. It's always so good and
rich
and zany, and they're just what people think they can get away with. You know, I mean, honestly, how did Todd think this was going to play out?
Oh, my God.
Can't do it forever.
Yes, totally.
You know, did he have a notion of, well, I can get caught up here and then do it the right way?
Yeah, I'll go up to Montreal, live some days off of the stolen money. Do they have extradition from Canada? I mean, also, the one name I kept expecting to show up in this story, but it never did for me, was Sylvester Stallone. Because, he fancies himself a painter.
Yeah.
I mean, he does paintings. I mean, I shouldn't say he fancies himself. He really does do paintings, and he sells them. So he technically is. But he never showed up. So there you go.
Is that your ridiculous takeaway?
Yeah, it is. And I'm going to have to now find a crime that involves Sylvester Stallone just so I can do his accent. So you in the mood for a talk back? Maybe we'll wash this all down?
Please.
Talk backs. Oh my God, did he just say that?
OMG.
Hi team, this is Sky from Melbourne, Australia. I just wanted to let you know that most of us don't know how to say our names of our towns or cities either. And depending on which state you come from, it's highly contested. Also, fun fact, apparently Mighty Ducks was released as champions here in Australia. Not sure I was aware of that, but apparently some people had it. Anyway, have a good one. Bye.
Wow.
Champions. Can I say this is why I love Australians?
Because the chillness?
Yeah, it's like, oh, none of us know how to say it. Who cares?
Oh, yeah. No,
we all know it's a place.
Yeah, exactly.
We know what we mean.
And also, we know that people with different accents are going to pronounce it differently. So it's like, what, do you get hung up because someone doesn't say exactly correct?
I love Australians.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of those down under.
Yes, I didn't really know a lot about Australians until we started doing this podcast.
Oh,
and then they've been like, I knew a couple people,
Sure.
but like every single person who reaches out is A, funny, B, smart,
Yes.
C, chill.
Mm-hmm. I love Australians. I mean, obviously the ones that love me back. There's some that they're not big fans of, but and not me personally, but people who look like me, but whatever. So setting aside them, I love Australians.
Yeah.
Just generally speaking.
Someday I'll be able to get on a flight that long.
Yeah, good luck with
I don't think I can do that. But yeah.
So thank you for that. That's awesome. Also, I need to give a personal thanks to one of our listeners, Rose, a.k.a. the Envious Moon on Instagram. I want to thank you so much. The pennies arrived, the 2026 pennies.
Yay!
I am so delighted. 2025 pennies. I'm so delighted. It meant the world to me. So thank you so much. The final pennies ever to be created. Now I've got not just one. You didn't just send me one. You sent me multiple. That was really, really, it not only made my day, it made my week, possibly made my month, and not just the short one, but like all of January. So that too. So thank you so much. That was really, really thoughtful and really kind. And it touched me. So thank you. And there you go. That's all I've got for you. So you can find us online at Ridiculous Crime on social media. We have Ridiculous Crime Pod on YouTube. Go check it out. And we have our website, ridiculouscrime.com. There's merch and there is all sorts of gifts for your viewing pleasure. So go check out ridiculouscrime.com. Obviously, we love your talkback. So please go to the iHeart app, download it, leave a talkback. We'd love to hear your voice here. Also, you can email us if you like at ridiculouscrime@gmail.com. If you do email us, remember to start the email, Dear Producer D. As always, thank you for listening, and we will catch you next crime. Ridiculous Crime is hosted by Elizabeth Dutton and Zaron Burnett. Produced and edited by Jack Nicholson's Aston Martin mechanic, Dave Koustin. And starring Annalise Rucker as Judith. Research is by Harvey Keitel's Plug for Rocking Chairs, Marissa Brown, and Jabari Davis. Our theme song is by our house band, Tom Cruise and the You Can't Handle This Truth Rhythm and Blues Band, a.k.a. Thomas Lee and Travis Dutton. The host wardrobe provided by Botany 500. Guest hair and makeup by Sparkle Shot. And Mr. Andre. Executive producers are Oliver Stone's spokesman, Ben Bolin, and Noel Brown.
Ridiculous crime.
Say it one more time.
Ridiculous crime.
Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.